Welcome back to another deep dive. In this episode we are taking on a commander that looks casual, plays slow and still wins games. Go-Shintai of Life's Origin doesn't hide what it's about. It's a shrine tribal, it's 5 colors, and most people assume it's a casual enchantment deck. In this video I'll show you how I took that reputation and flipped it. This is how you turn a predictable linear strategy into a bracket 4 control engine that wins through inevitability. It's slow, it's predictable, and that's exactly why your opponents underestimate it. Let's break down how it works, why it wins, and how to make it function in a real bracket 4 environment. This is the Commander Experience. I started trying to make shrines work when Core Set 21 released. The set gave us a full cycle of new shrines, and to this day I still think they're the most powerful ones printed. They scaled cleanly with the number of shrines you control, and each one gave you a meaningful, repeatable effect. But as promising as M21 shrines were, their archetype just didn't have enough support. We still didn't have a large enough shrine count, and more importantly, we didn't have a commander that could properly anchor the strategy. Without that central piece, the deck couldn't keep up, and I shelved the project. That all changed with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It introduced a new cycle of shrines, less powerful than M21s in my opinion, but they were exactly what the deck needed. They filled out the count, and more importantly, they could trigger the ability of our new commander, Go-Shintai of Life's Origin. With all 5 colors, recursion, and shrine token generation, Go-Shintai of Life's Origin turned Shrine Tribal from a novelty into a real game plan. It made the deck scalable, resilient, and finally functional. So I went back. I rebuilt the deck from the ground up, and I've been tuning it ever since. Let's take a closer look at how the shrines themselves actually drive the deck. The entire win condition of this deck is built around a few specific shrines. The most important are Sanctum of Stonefangs and Haunting of Infinite Rage. These deal damage to each opponent on your turn and scale with the number of shrines you control. What turns these from decent value into a win condition is Sanctum of All. It doubles your triggers and tutors out other shrine each upkeep. Once this is online with your damage shrines, the game starts to close quickly. To support the engine, we have our value shrines. Haunting of Seeing Winds and Sanctum of Calm Waters give us steady card draw, while Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest ramp us into bigger plays. The rest of the shrine mostly exists to trigger your commander and increase the count. That's their primary function, but every once in a while they do something unexpected and swings the game. One major strength of this strategy is that it's enchantment-based. Enchantress-style decks are inherently resilient because enchantment removal is scarce, especially in black and red. Once your non-creature shrines hit the battlefield, they're usually safe for the rest of the game, and from there, they begin to snowball. Turn by turn, the triggers stack up, and the board presence becomes overwhelming if left unchecked. One thing to watch out for: Haunting of Seeing Winds isn't a May ability. It will force you to draw, and if you're not careful, you can deck yourself before your damage shrines close the game. To help manage that, I run a few contingency options. Otawara, Soaring City, lets me bounce Haunting back to hand if needed, and Aura Shards gives me a way to remove it entirely if drawing becomes a liability. This is why I generally prefer Sanctum of Calm Waters. It's a May ability, and it gives me more control over my card flow as the game progresses. The game plan is simple and linear. Get your commander out as quickly as possible. The deck doesn't really function until Go-Shintai of Life's Origin is on the battlefield. Once he's there, every shrine you play starts generating value and board presence immediately. Now let's talk about some of the key tech decisions that really shape how this version of the deck plays out. Let's start with the card that set the pace and controls the table: Humility. This is easily one of the strongest cards in the deck. Yes, it shows off your commander's ability, but you're almost never the one who suffers the most from it. Humility blanks the board, stalls the creature-based win cons, and slows the game to a crawl. That's exactly what this deck needs to develop its engine. Your commander still counts as a shrine even without abilities, and when Humility eventually gets removed, you just bring it back with your commander's WUBRG Reanimate. It's disruption, it's resilience, and it gives you the breathing room you need in order to win. With Go-Shintai of Life's Origin reanimation ability, Entomb becomes a powerful setup piece. It's in the deck almost entirely to dump Omniscience into the graveyard. It's a one card line to turn your commander into a game-breaking value engine, and one of the few ways this deck can go from slow to explosive in a single turn. Emergent Ultimatum plays a similar role. It's there to create big swings by cheating out your most powerful cards in the deck. I usually build the pile around Omniscience, one with the Multiverse and Time Stretch, but depending on what's in my hand or on the board, I might pivot to Nexus of Fate or even a value shrine like Haunting of Seeing Winds if I need cards more than tempo. No matter how they split the pile, it's going to advance your game plan in a meaningful way. When it comes to interaction, I try to stay on theme with enchantments or card types that feel consistent with the deck, but I'm also strict about one thing: speed. In bracket 4, you get punished hard for playing interaction at sorcery speed, so I run cards like Amphibian Downpour, Leyline Binding, and Dress Down to make sure I can respond without losing tempo. There is one exception: Static Prison. It's a 1-mana removal spell that fits cleanly into early game sequencing. Even though it's sorcery speed, the low cost makes it worth including. I'm currently running both Sterling Grove and Greater Oromancy, but I question their value more often than not. Enchantment removal is already rare, and most board wipes hit my enchantment creatures no matter what. Sterling Grove stays because of the tutor effect, but Greater Oromancy might get cut eventually. Protection is nice, but in practice, it doesn't always make a big difference. Finally, Nexus of Fate. It's simple. Extra turns with shrines are incredibly strong. Every shrine triggers again, every resource resets, and one extra turn often snowballs into a win. Nexus of Fate is one of those cards that quietly overperforms every time it shows up. To wrap things up, I want to touch on a few closing observations. A quick caution if you're building this deck: avoid cards like Paradox Haze. It looks like a great fit at first, but remember, your best shrine triggers happen during your pre-combat main phase, not your upkeep. More upkeeps doesn't help you win faster, it just clutters the game plan. This deck needs a lot of pieces to work. It's slow, it's deliberate, and it takes time to build momentum. That is why cards like Emergent Ultimatum and Omniscience are so important. They give you those explosive turns that can shift the game into your favor. And yes, Humility will make you some enemies. It's not a fun card to resolve, but it's a necessary evil if you want to survive in bracket 4. Without ways to stall the board, you simply won't make it to the part of the game where Shrines takes over. Like I mentioned earlier, a few cards are still on the chopping block. Whether it's cutting protection that doesn't pull its weight or sliding in more extra turn effects, I'm always tuning and reworking the list. With a deck like this, that's just part of the process, constantly adjusting, evolving, and exploring new options, because in the end, the deck is never finished, and neither is the experience.